I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking like, wow, man, I really looked at some great reels when I was alive. I really had a good laugh by
Yeah.
myself with my screen. Like, I don't want that.
Right.
I will be thinking about the times where I sat with friends and laughed until my stomach hurt and forgot what time it was. Like, those are the things that we need to do more often.
Welcome to Extraordinary Stories. I'm your host today, Forbes Shannon, and with me,
Christine Butler.
And our guest is a top keynote speaker, top thought leader. We're really excited to welcome him to the Extraordinary Collaborative, all the way from Kansas City. His company is called Unstoppable Solutions, the one and only Rich Bracken. Rich, thanks for being here, man.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I'm excited to dive into this conversation.
We had such a great time pre-call that we had to compose ourselves before.
had to bring it down a few notches in a lot of different ways just to get ready for this, but we're still going to launch into some fun stuff.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so, you have a lot of mutual acquaintances, and Christine reached out to you because you're so connected to the other thought leaders that we have in the Extraordinary Collaborative. So, being nominated, I'm curious, what is it about something like a collaborative that really draws people like you to it?
I think a lot of times, and I just had this conversation with one of my coaching clients, that we need to try to continue to improve ourselves, whether that's personal self-improvement, whether that's studying up on our craft, whether it's taking feedback on what we're doing. But I also feel like the old sports adage, especially since we're in March Madness, that you play to the level of competition, or you become better when you surround yourself with people who are up-leveling themselves. So a collaborative, any kind of a group that you can figure out that these individuals are going to help me raise my game and raise what I'm doing with my own business, I'm always game to be a part of that. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this conversation, thrilled to continue to work with you all and collaborate moving forward, and just thrilled to connect with other people in this collaborative.
Awesome. Well, I totally get what you're saying about up-leveling and playing to the level of your competition. So speaking of up-leveling, let's go back 5 years where you took this jump. From the corporate life to, what you've built now with your personal brand. What was that up-leveling process like?
I think part of what I was doing along the lines, because I started speaking when I had a full-time job due to an unplanned trip to the ER, not that we plan any trips to the ER, but an unplanned trip to the ER due to high levels of stress. And so I started speaking because I'm that kind of individual that I love having information and helping people through that information. So I was doing that on the side for so long and didn't plan on it becoming a business or becoming a thing. And it just started growing on its own. And then it got to a point where my calendar was so booked out that I figured I either had to fake an FMLA injury and take extended leave, or actually quit my job and move forward. But all along the way, I was talking with people, kind of like we just mentioned, talking with people that were big time keynote speakers, learning from them. What would they do differently if they could go back and start over again? Got feedback on my own content, continually worked to improve what I was doing because I wanted to have the most impact I possibly could have. And so now, post jump, I had that last end of the year booked out, had nothing in 2024. But it was just, relying on my connections, relying on my network, relying on my own personal brand too. And because we can only really be as strong as our self-belief in our brand. And so that conveyed moving forward, and it's just grown and grown ever since. And so now I'm going into year 3. This has really just erupted for me. And so I'm honored and blessed to do what I do because I love helping people. But the fact that it's been a growing business is even better.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
There's so much to unpack there, but you just kind of glossed over the ER, and I want to just
That was going to be my question. So
right, exactly.
let's
Just kind of drop that in there. I was working in a law firm in a business development role, and was succeeding on the outside, working really hard, doing all the things that I thought made someone successful. Staying up late, getting up early, doing the highest level of content, bringing in deals, all of these things, but I was eroding on the inside. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was stressed out all the time, high anxiety, terrible sleep patterns, and really just wasn't taking care of myself. And so I'm sitting in my office one day, have all the symptoms of having a heart attack. So I drove myself to the ER. Doc tells me that, good news, bad news, not having a heart attack, but having a massive panic attack. And so we talked about this concept of emotional intelligence because ER docs have a stressful job as well. And so he was talking about how he had been reading this book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, which you'll see over my shoulder here. And that was my prescription for the day. It was the only time I've been to a doctor that didn't prescribe a drug. So here's this book. I start reading the book, put all these things into play. And I'm like, this is really amazing. Like, it transformed my life. And so this combination of having this knowledge, wanting to help other people that are probably in the same situation I am, and my dream job, just another nugget to gloss over, my dream job is to host The Price is Right. So I have this personality that I love being on stage, not afraid of crowds. So I started speaking about it and wound up speaking at probably the most boring content conference of all time. But I looked like a mistake on the agenda, talking about emotional intelligence at a legal project management and finance conference. Like, brace yourself for that. But when I started talking to this room, and it was packed to, wall to wall, standing room only, because people wanted to hear this topic, I knew that I was onto something. So that ER visit walked me into this new life that I'm now leading every single day, and I love it.
That's awesome. I love it. And Price is Right. Noted. We'll get you there.
We'll get you there.
We can do that. Yeah. Sure.
Another nugget of information. I'm currently 1 degree of separation from that role, so we can unpack that in a little bit. But yeah, it's there. It's there.
Was it what you watched when you were homesick? Like, where's the
when I was
all the game shows you could have picked?
Yeah.
When I was sticking my thermometer against the light bulb and I had a 250-degree temperature because I wanted to stay home from school. Yeah, that was exactly when I figured that out. But yeah, it was always, I've always wanted to be a game show host, specifically that game show, but it's always been a dream of mine. I think it would be so much fun. So if you ever hear me like shutting down my website and getting out of keynote speaking, there will be signs that job came through.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be looking for them. I want to be the Vanna White.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, we could if I can get on The Price is Right, you're coming with me, and we're making it a package deal. Like, I'm not signing unless you can come with.
There you go. Look at that.
I love it. All right, TV next.
So, what do you like at a party?
I'm really boring and introverted, to be honest.
That's a totally left turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
I had to keep it interesting,
That's
right? I didn't want to be too predictable there. No, actually, I was a national touring, global DJ for about 25 years. And so I'm at the party providing the entertainment, not necessarily being the entertainment. But I'm that kind of person that I love connecting people. So I'm not going to be the person that stands there and talks about myself. I want to make sure that somebody else in the room. If there's somebody you want to meet, or I want to get to know you as quickly as possible and learn how I can be of service to you. That's how I am at parties. I want to make sure that I'm networking and connecting people, but also just making people feel welcome and seen. If I'm not behind the turntables, that's the indication on that.
I think DJs make people feel welcome and seen, though.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, music is
So, this entertainer personality, where have you always been that? How did you develop that?
Yeah, and I think you could probably tell your editor this is the part where we slide in the picture of me standing on my bed when I'm 7 in my PJs with bedhead and my microphone. Like, I've always been that way. I got into DJing in high school, and it was just something that I just always did on the side. It was fun. It was a passion of mine. I'm a huge music freak, and it just took off on its own. And so I got to open for Avicii. I got to open for Kelly Rowland, got to play at Winter Music Conference in Miami, got to play in Vegas numerous times. And so once I hit 40, and there's a story there that I know we don't have a ton of time for. So once I hit 40, I sold my equipment and I was done. But that was around the same time that I started getting into this speaking world. And so now I've got a keynote called Soundtrack for Success, where I actually have turntables on stage and play music as I'm delivering the keynote, and it turns into a party.
Oh my God.
Just did it in Los Angeles for about 3,000 people. I've got a big international keynote that I'm doing in August for about 7,500 people. So it has become this marquee presentation of mine that I get to play music and be done by 5 p.m. instead of 5 a.m., which is nice.
Right.
But it just, to your point that you made earlier, like, it makes people feel seen and heard. Everybody bonds over music. So no matter what genre you like, when you hear September by Earth, Wind and Fire, or you hear The Wobble, like, people come together in that moment and really have fun.
Yeah.
The Wobble.
That's incredibly. One thing I love about music is the energy that you can get from it. A sad song has an energy. A happy song has an energy. Now, people have energies, right? So are you good at gauging someone? Like, for me, for example, I'll know if I'll like someone the first 5 seconds of meeting them. I
Mhm.
typically like everyone, but
Mhm.
I can tell.
Yeah, and
Do
I
you
think
also have that?
oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm thankful that we're still on the podcast after the first 5 seconds, so I'm taking that as a compliment that you actually enjoy my conversation here. But I didn't realize what this thing was until about a few years ago, but I'm a highly sensitive person. And
Mm,
so I can feel energy on a different level. I can
yeah.
feel the energy of a room or a person like within seconds. So just like you're saying. And so especially when I'm on stage, like that is times 100. Like it just is off the scale how quickly I can pick up on energy, improv off the crowd.
Yeah.
But I love that. I didn't used to understand what it was and how I could use it to my benefit, but now I completely understand how to leverage it in conversations, networking, keynotes, the whole 9 yards.
Right. Forbes is a stand-up comedian, and I see some similarities there. I'm sure that there are with DJing and stand-up, right? And their energy and reading people.
Well, I'm also an introvert at the party. I love hosting the
Mm.
party, but like, after we do these extraordinary after dark comedy shows, there's an after party next door. And it feels like the first moment I have for myself is when like the stage is shut down and it's before the after party and it's like, okay,
Oh yeah.
you know, and it's not work because I love talking to people, but it almost takes more of my energy to go and do the rounds of saying
Mhm.
hello to everybody than it does to put on a comedy show. I don't know what that is, and the people are great. I love talking to them. They're all our friends and, extraordinary
Hmm.
members, but it's a different allocation of your energy. I don't know. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
It does, and I felt it as a DJ. I feel it as a keynote speaker. Like when I am, and it's not a disingenuous performative element. Like
Hmm.
we're truly putting our passion and our energy into
Right.
what we're doing on stage to serve people, whether it's through comedy, which I did an open mic stand up comedy night. It was terrifying, so I have all the respect in the world for you. But as a DJ or a keynote speaker, like I'm up there pouring my heart out into my set or into my presentation. And so that is a different level of energy. And so it's almost like you have two tanks. It's that networking
Yeah.
Yes.
social aspect, but then it's also
Right.
the servant or the performative side of things in a very genuine way that once this gets depleted, you have to have some time to kind of catch up. Like I remember
Right.
driving home from sets at 5 a.m. listening to Sade because that was my calm down time. That was my replenishment time. Didn't
Uh-huh.
see that coming either,
Uh-huh.
did you?
No,
But that
I'm
was
shocked.
best concert I've ever been to, by the way.
No joke.
But also like that is just part of who we are. I was liken myself to an ambivert. Like I can be as extroverted as you need to be, but I also will tuck in and really replenish myself in a quiet way when I need to.
Yeah, for sure. I just recently learned that I need to recharge as an introvert to be an extrovert.
Hmm.
Um, I I thought I was just always extroverted. I actually I'll take a step further. I used to think introverts were arrogant. I was
Hmm.
like, what's so
Right.
great about you that you just want to hang out with yourself, right?
Right.
And then I started spending time with myself and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. This is all the craze. I understand like
Right.
being able to sit with yourself. Like and Rich, so this doctor gives you this book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, right?
Hmm.
You're the performer. And then you're also literally the grind guy at
Hmm.
work,
Mhm.
Wh- what did you learn about rest from your experience in the ER, from your past life as a DJ to, the corporate world you found yourself in and all the way up until now? Like, what did you learn?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I learned was the idea that I was always on the go trying to serve other people. And I was trying to perform and do and provide, and whether it was content or coaching or anything that I was doing, I was go, 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 do, do, do. And I was pouring out all the time. And what I
Mm.
didn't realize was that me serving myself and taking care of myself and providing for myself was actually more important and provided me the opportunity to be better at providing for other people. So I needed to really take the time to invest in myself. And tell people from the stage all the time. I used to think self-care was a selfish thing. And so once I started
Uh-huh.
understanding that self-care is actually you replenishing yourself or you refilling your
Mhm.
tank, it's almost like a car.
Uh-huh.
Like a car is great, but if you don't fill it back up, it's worthless. You can have the nicest car in the entire world, but if it's on E, it's not going
Mhm.
anywhere. So you have to take the time to reinvest in yourself. And it's not, yes, I would love a full day at the spa. That would be amazing. But in just like a few minutes or 10 minutes or 30 minutes, you can actually have a lot of recharge and have a lot of ability
Mhm.
to refill that, kind of like we're talking about with the energy. So I
Yeah.
had to block time to take care of myself. I had to say, there's always going to be something to do. You're never going to get to the end of your to-do list. It's always going to refill. So having those boundaries and setting that expectation for myself was a game changer and allowed me to do better for everyone around me.
So I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about everyone around you. Who surrounds you? Who are the people that you're being your best for, and the people that are helping you?
Yeah, my family, especially my two sons, who are 13 and 9, like I have conversations with them all the time
Right.
about what I do. Like I just spent 3 weeks on the road and had to, wanted to explain to them why I'm gone so long, why I'm over in Europe, while I'm doing all of these things. And so we have pregame meetings where I explain,
Okay.
where am I going? What is the meeting? Who are the people? What am I talking about? What is the goal? I just got video footage back from a presentation I just did for 3,500 people in LA and showed them some of the content. They're like, oh, that's what you do. And of course, they're like, oh my God, you're so embarrassing at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's critical for me to do that. So my family, I will say that I have a close knit personal board of directors, which I have curated over the years. I would be nowhere without them. They are the most invaluable group of friends that I have in my entire life and have ever had. And really, it's everybody that I step in front of, whether it's content on LinkedIn or content on Instagram or keynotes or podcasts or anything. I'm here to serve people. I'm here to help people figure out that there is hope, whatever situation they're stuck in or whatever mindset they're stuck in. There's a way to improve that. I didn't go through the things that I went through just to sit back and say, like, go me. I just helped my own self. Like, I'm here to help
Yeah.
other people. So I have to show up for everyone, but that the family aspect, the personal board of directors who are also my very closest friends, those are the people that I show up for the most.
I love it. And that personal board of directors, what's their veto power?
They have a very strong one, and I will say that no, and I say that with all the love and respect for them too, because I think the people that you surround yourself, if they're just saying yes, you go girl, like do all the things, you're gonna crush it, that is not a personal board of directors. The personal board of directors need to say, I love that idea. Are you okay? Do you have the bandwidth to do it? Or do you have the bandwidth to do it at the level that you want to do it at? Or do you think that's going to align with your personal brand? Sounds like a great opportunity, but
Right.
should you sacrifice that to focus on something bigger and better? So the ability for them to not necessarily hard veto, although a couple of them that are going to listen to this will say, oh no, I veto stuff all the time with you. I'm like, yes, you do. But for the most part, they will veto it in a way that is very almost improv, to bring in improv. Yes, and let's look at what the cost of that is going to be. What is the opportunity cost if you do this? What are you sacrificing? So they do a great job of either soft vetoing through improv, or for the two that I know that are going to hear this and are nodding their heads as they're listening, there are two that have absolute veto power, and I've learned not to push back against that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have your back, it sounds like.
Well, you know what's interesting? Christine has two boys, 13 and 9.
I do.
Oh, funny. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I totally understand the little like powwows you guys have before you go
Mhm.
anywhere, do anything. Like it's so important. And like people fail to understand that they understand it all, probably
Mhm.
more so in a clear lens than us adults do. And it's
Mhm.
wild. What's your
Yes.
favorite parenting advice?
There's so much. I would say asking questions and not assuming something is the best way, because I think,
That's huge.
and no disrespect, my dad, like he did a great job trying to figure things out based on how he was raised. And I think a lot of times he didn't ask questions, didn't want to dive a little bit deeper. And so I try to do that with my boys. Instead of taking what they say or what they do at face value, say, okay, well, tell me how you came to that decision. Like, why was that a good choice? Do I do that 100% of the time? No. Like I'm a parent as well that will hear something, I'm like, absolutely not. Like that's just not happening. But a lot of times, like, walk me through that. How does that make you feel? What do you think that's going to do? I've had some conversations around, yes, it's not fair that we have to think about things and how other people are going to think about it or talk about it or perceive you, but that's the way the world works. So if you're going to make
Right.
this decision, are you prepared for that kind of a pushback or blowback from
Right.
a decision that you've made? I just want to talk through it and have an understanding. So I think that level of asking some deeper questions, which I think is social awareness in action, is so important to have in a parental leadership, parental relationship, but also a leadership situation as well. So it's personal and professional.
Yeah. We say ask better questions,
Yes.
and the
Hmm.
number one thing that we've realized that blows my mind, as interviewers, as ghostwriters, the lack of follow-up questions
Mhm.
in the wild.
It's
It,
awful.
it, right? Talk about that. Yeah.
I think a couple things come into mind too. One, that we have the attention span of goldfish, which is actually probably worse now because I think that stat came out a year ago. So I think we're worse
Yes.
now.
Yes.
But also I feel like we're now in this mindset of I've got to say something, or I've got to put my point out there too. We
Mhm.
listen to talk all the time. And I tell people about this when I talk about social awareness in my emotional intelligence keynote. Stop doing that. Don't listen for the pause or the breath. Listen to what they're saying and listen to how you can respond with a question, or how can you dive a little bit deeper. And going
Mhm.
back to the theme
Mhm.
of having people feel seen and heard, that's so important. You have to have people feel that way if you're going to have any kind of connection, relationship, communication. That is so critical.
Yeah. And that's like the keystone in writing, right? You need your book to be relatable. Otherwise, it's
Mhm.
nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
read books before that I know they wrote and they felt really good about writing about it. I'm like, I can't relate to this at all. I don't know why this
Mhm.
is so important, or I don't get it. And so I think it's important to make it a two-way conversation or a two-way sentiment, as opposed to talking at someone or waiting for them to stop talking so that I can throw my point in too.
Yeah. I think it's just effective listening is what it comes down to. I think we've had some amazing conversations on extraordinary stories, and people will thank us for our interview skills. And I don't think it's that. I think it's like this is the first time in a while someone listened
Right. Or like ask them a
for,
real question.
yeah, like
Right.
actually paid attention to what they were saying,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Like
I
yeah,
think we
and
have a record of making people cry here.
you have a record of making people cry.
we
I'm the
still have a
funny
few
guy.
minutes left, and I'm a softie at heart, so that's probably
What's
very
the worst thing
possible.
that's ever happened?
Right. No, but to your point, like, and this struck me too, coming back from Europe, is that in both Barcelona and London, I saw fewer people with their phones out than I
Yeah.
had seen in a decade, because people were
Yeah.
having conversations. They were talking back and forth. There was eye contact being made. And so I
Right.
think that we're just so distracted by everything else around us. So the minute I landed in New York on my connection flight back, I got off the plane, and in the gate area, everybody was doing this. Everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so
And
sad.
at some point I get it, but at this I still to this day will never ever understand why we've gotten so far away from conversation, from true, genuine connection, and not just
Mhm.
the instant like or the instant comment or the instant soundbite. And I think that's just how we've been conditioned in this country. Because once you go over to Barcelona and walk through the cafes and everybody's talking and nobody's phones are out, it's a different level of energy.
Yeah. So why do you think that might be uniquely American?
I, without going too far down the rabbit hole, I don't know, but I feel like I will say the sentiment that came across my mind as I'm walking through, like I was walking down the boardwalk in Barcelona, and you walk by about 10 or 15 different cafes and restaurants, outdoor seating everywhere. Everybody's talking, laughing, carrying on conversations. 99% of the conversations I had no idea because they were speaking a variety of different languages. But the sentiment and the energy and the connection was undeniable. And I felt like at some point, for lack of better explanation, I felt like we were some sort of like a social science experiment in the US.
Mhm.
Like, what can we
Mhm.
do to disrupt communication as much as possible? What can we do to disrupt relationships as much as possible? Oh, let's stick these phones in front of people and make it our cultural norm. Now, do other countries have as many phones? Of course they do. But I think we
Yeah.
just are of this mindset, and this is my long way of saying I honestly don't know, but I feel like there is this culture that we have in the US that we're so dependent on our phones for our communication and not our just genuine connection with people.
Yeah. I'm sure it's like an ecosystemic thing too. Like, what struck me last night was I was leading a panel talking about like the state of food and the future of food and food
Mhm,
resilience here in the United States. And they talked about how food is a connector
mhm,
everywhere in the world. Food is
Mhm.
mhm.
how people connect. And they were like, but we have poison food.
Oh my
And it
god.
was like, it got me thinking like, Maybe that, like, where's the butterfly effect? What was the
Yeah.
thing that triggered this massive difference that we have? And, I think everything's probably related, but
Well, let's not go down too far in
I'm
that rabbit
sorry.
hole
All right.
because
I'm just,
we had a conspiracy theory night party at my place, so
yeah,
we go hard.
yeah.
I,
You
I
can,
I would love an invitation to that next time because I'm also sitting here thinking about every meal that I
Right.
had in Europe. The food's just better, and
Yes. Yeah.
it just tastes better. We can set up another conversation about that another time, or I'm happy to come to the conspiracy theory night. Like I think that would be fascinating.
Tinfoil hats required.
Oh, done. Like I if there's style points, I want those. But
Okay,
also
we can
like
have a craft
I agree.
station.
Like it is a gathering. Like meals last a
yeah,
long
Yeah.
time. People take their time. They're socializing over the meal. But even if you're cooking at home, like that should be a social connection point where you can bring everybody together. And now I'm starving.
yeah. Well, I'm just curious just to talk about food a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um, Kansas City, middle of the country,
Hmm.
you know, barbecue culture.
Yes.
Like as you travel around the world, what are the different cultures that you've seen around how people connect based on where they're at?
Related to food or just in general?
Just however, yeah,
Um, it's interesting, and I'm gonna lean back on the European connection just because I just came from there. So being born in Memphis and grown up in Kansas City, like I don't even really like barbecue all that much, to be honest. I know I'm probably gonna
Oh.
get smacked by some of my locals if they hear this. But I think there's a pride in the food. And I think,
Mhm.
the Spanish restaurants that I went to in Barcelona, like they're very proud of the food that they put in front of you. The English not so much because their food is not phenomenal.
I
But
agree.
Italians, my family's Italians. I've got two cousins who are chefs. Like they're very proud of what they do. So I think there's a pride and connection there. I think there is a almost a relationship that is bonded when somebody makes food for you and brings it and presents it in front of you,
Yeah.
and you're that's their gift or their message to you. It's just like DJing. Like my sets were a gift to my audience or my way of connecting with my audience on an emotional level. But I will say that the one thing that I think is really interesting is when and you see this in both small towns and big towns. Like you'll see this in New York, but you also see it in Hayes, Kansas, is that I think at our core, we want to connect. We want to talk. We want to have conversations, and we just
Yeah.
have to be proactively reminded that that's what we're here for. At the end of
yeah,
it, like I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking like, "Wow, man, I really looked at some great reels when I was alive." I really had a good laugh by
Yeah.
myself with my screen. Like I don't want that.
right,
I will be thinking about the times where I sat with friends and laughed until my
Mhm.
stomach hurt and forgot what time it was. Like those are the things that we need to do more often. So if anything, that's what I came back with from Barcelona and London is just the desire to want to connect and talk with people more so than I ever had. And I just
yeah,
wish more people in the States realized how important those moments are, whether it's family, your kids, your friends, whatever. That time will not come back because you've got your head down in your reels. You should be looking at this. And also, if you're watching this on reels, keep watching.
Keep watching, please.
Yeah, right.
like and
Just
subscribe.
until I'm done
Yeah.
talking, and then you can go back to connecting with people.
um, Now with this newfound knowledge, you know, what what are you going to do about that in the future?
I think I'm going to be really honing in on breaking down this idea that this is just our habit now. That's not good enough for me.
Mhm.
One of the things I talk about in my keynotes is this idea of true connection, relationship management, social awareness, both connecting with ourselves, but also how are we engaging other people and how are we paying more attention to people? And a lot of it is around just the idea that everybody has something important to say. And so if you're not tuned in, you could be missing out on something. I bring in a really
Yeah.
fun example of music sampling and how there could be a 10-second soundbite into the middle of a song that somebody heard at one point and turned it into a legendary hip hop song or a club song. So it's
Right.
important that we tune in more with that. So I think I'm really going to be doubling down on the idea that the golden rule applies here. You would want people to listen to you if you had something important to say. You want to connect with people at your core. That's what's more important. That's what feels good. Yes, we have the dopamine hits of reels and social media and news hits and all these other things. But at the end of the day, that's where your true core memories are going to come from, are those conversations that
Mhm.
you had with someone where you invested enough in them that they trusted you with something that was important to them, or you had a great brainstorm back and forth. Like those kinds of things, those need to happen more. And so I really think I'm going to be doubling down more on that, because it was intoxicating to walk through those places. And I didn't understand a word they were saying, but the vibe and the energy was just everything.
Yeah, that's why I love traveling so much, because it's not like here.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
We ask this question to everyone that comes on Extraordinary Stories. And you've given so much advice already,
Totally.
but if there was one piece of advice that our listeners could use today to live more extraordinarily, what would it be?
Oh, that's a great one. I'm going to break it into two, but it's the same thought. Number one, take better care of yourself. I feel like I'm living proof that it could go the wrong way, but it could also go the right way. And that's really up to you. Um, so taking better care of ourselves and not apologizing for it. I feel like so many times we feel guilty for stepping away or taking a few minutes for ourselves because we're just in this culture that we have to be available all the time.
Right.
And so that's part one, is taking better care of ourselves. And number two, you have to go build a playlist of music that makes you happy. And I do that with my audiences. I have them build one in real time with me. In
Okay.
LA, we built one that I think was around 900 songs of happiness. And so go build that today for yourself. Just start with 5 songs that make you happy. Keep them on a Spotify list or an Apple Music list that you can go to if something makes you sad, angry, stressed, frustrated. Go pull up that playlist and go spend, most songs are under 5 minutes. You could take 5 minutes and bring your emotions back. So take better care of yourselves. If you don't think you have time to do it, go build a playlist and listen to one song. In 5 minutes, you'll be in a much better place.
I love that.
Best advice I've heard yet.
I love that. Yeah. We would love to have you make an extraordinary playlist for our
Done.
Oh,
listeners.
yeah.
Done.
Okay.
I
Great.
will start one if we can encourage the audience to send in theirs as well. So I'm going to also
Sweet.
ask the
Yes.
two of you. I'm going to put you on the spot here, turning
Good.
the interview back on the interviewers. What songs make you individually happy?
Ooh.
Oh, I have too many. It's like choosing your favorite child.
I've been what I love about Spotify is it introduces me to music that I would never find on my own.
Mhm.
And it does such a good job of that. And then when I find something that I like, I listen to it inside and out.
Yeah.
And so probably the album that I've been just obsessed over has been the Labyrinth Sia Diplo album from like a few years ago that
Oh,
I just
yeah.
got introduced to.
Yeah.
Yeah. LSD is what they call it. And
Yeah.
I have just been consuming that thing. It's just feel good
It's
music.
so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
all
so good.
poppy, and I got a weird music taste
You
because I'll
do.
like go
You
from like
do.
Kendrick Lamar right to
do.
Dua Lipa, right, and then back to Billy Joel.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm
Of
across
course.
the
Yeah.
board, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's been it for me.
That's a hard question. It's always been hard for me to answer, but I have like a token favorite band, The Cure, and so like that'll always make me feel good. Boys Don't
That's
Cry.
fantastic. I'm hearing Friday I'm in Love in my head right now. That's a
Yes.
great choice.
Yeah.
Aaron and Christine are doing something cool. I hope I'm not breaking news here, but you know how like band tees are making a comeback?
Oh, yeah.
They're doing band tees, but for the 100 great books.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
book tees.
Like 1984, like
Yeah,
Pride and Prejudice.
Catcher in the
To
Rye.
Kill
Just, like,
To
in
Kill a
the
Mockingbird.
Eye.
We're like,
Yeah.
world tour, baby. Front row. 12 Angry Men. What's up?
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That's awesome. Well, you can read more about Rich Bracken at joinextraordinary.com. That's JoinExtraordinary.com and at joinextraordinary on all our socials. I'm Forbes Shannon.
I'm Christine Butler.
And I'm Rich Bracken.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rich, and we'll see you all next time.